Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Last week, we were discussing about things which invalidate Salah. And we have not finished the subtopic of things which invalidate Salah. We discussed some. Like we said, we'll go very quickly just to remind ourselves, because then I forget until we remind ourselves, until we do the revision. So I'll go very quickly, a recap of last week's session, last week's lesson. So 12 things make prayers void, and they are called mubtilat. Mubtilat means they make salah batil. First, if any of the prerequisites of prayers ceases to exist while one is in namaz, like if he comes to know that the dress with which he has covered himself is a usurped one. If I'm praying with a ghasbi dress, then my namaz is batil. Yeah, because the condition is that the place should be pak, it should be yours, the place even should not be ghasbi, the dress also shouldn't be ghasbi. So one thing is that if any of the prerequisites of prayers ceases to exist while one is in namaz, like if the place being pak, the dress being your own, this is a prerequisite for salah. Second, if a person intentionally or by mistake or uncontrollably commits an act which makes his wudu or ghusl void, like when urine comes out, even if it is discharged forgetfully or involuntarily, alaykum salam, after the last sajda of the prayers, namaz becomes batil. Okay. Third, if a person folds his hands as a mark of humility and reverence, his prayers will be void. But this is based on precautionary rule. However, there's no doubt about it being haram. If it is done believing that it is ordained by Sharia, then it is haram. Then we discussed many things in that if a person does forgetfully, it doesn't matter. If he thinks this is ordained by Sharia, namaz will become batil. This was the third thing. Then we discussed, as we having said that, we discussed many things. It's just a recap of last week's session. Fourth, if a person says Ameen after Surah Al-Hamd, again, if he thinks that this is ordained by Sharia, namaz becomes batil. Fifth, if a person turns away from Qibla, namaz becomes batil. Sixth is if a person in namaz talks, he speaks purposely, intentionally, namaz will become batil. If a person, then we discussed many things. If a person utters forgetfully, there's no problem, there is sajdatul sahw. We went in depth. Yeah. No, we didn't. We did till 6th. So 5th we have already mentioned. 6th even, this is 7th. What was 6th? 6th was talking? Okay, ahsant. Ahsant. Yeah, because 5th was Qibla. True. 5th was to turn away from Qibla. 6th was talking. Ahsant. Now we'll discuss 7th. So it's done. My aim was to do a recap of last week's session. 7th. So today we are starting from 7th. The 7th thing which makes namaz void is an intentional loud laugh. And if the laugh is uncontrollable or involuntary, if what prompted in the first place was intentional, or for that matter, inadvertent, the namaz will be void. But if one laughs loudly unintentionally, or if he purposely laughs without emitting any voice, there is no harm. So if a person laughs without having voice, there is no harm. Without voice, according to Aghasistani. But if a person intentionally he laughs with voice, loud laugh, namaz becomes batil. Namaz becomes batil. Okay. If in order to control his laughter, the condition of the person in namaz changes, like if the color of his face turns red. Now he wants to control his laugh so that his namaz should become valid. It's right. Look, we are humans. Chicken. We are humans. We are not angels. We are not sinless. We are sinful creatures, isn't it? So maybe you are at home praying. There are some people talking. They came across a talk which was very funny. And you are praying. What is Sharia saying? It was something funny. And you want to control. Because I think that if I don't control, such a namaz, how much toru haram she? Without any reason. You can't break your namaz. Isn't it? Namaz is something which is very prestigious. So it is something very prestigious. And the condition of the person in namaz changes. Like if the color of his face turns red. Now if he is controlling and that color of the face changed into red, he should, as an obligatory precaution, pray again. And to that extent that your color changed, it became red completely. When we are controlling ourselves, that skin color changes, then namaz becomes batil. But if you didn't, according to Agha Sistani, if you didn't take out voice, there was no voice of laughing, you controlled, you laughed a bit, namaz is valid. You understand what I mean? Like maybe smiling, because it's involuntarily. You didn't want to. But then you controlled. Yeah. वो नानी वस्तु छे पण शरिया छे. Yeah? And I'm saying everything according to the Islamic laws of Agha Sistani. I'm not saying on myself, no. Okay, according to him. What is the borderline? If the color changes of a person, if it is loud laugh, namaz batil. But a person pachitarataj for a second only, if he controlled himself for a second, the voice was not heard. Because for a second, even you can wait and think. Shak avi jai che vachma namazma. I don't know, you must have, I don't know, it happens that, I'm in which rakat? For a second, you can think. For a second. Yeah. You have made up your mind? It's my third rakat. Continue. What? Question. If I thought for a second, does it break my namaz? No. It does not break. For a second, if I thought. 8. As an obligatory precaution, if one intentionally weeps, Jani joine insan roe. If he weeps, namaz becomes batil intentionally. You can't weep in namaz intentionally. Yes, if you weep for the fear of Allah, there's no problem. If you weep for the hereafter, there's no problem. If you weep to remember Allah, there's no problem. That is what namaz for. What is namaz for? Namaz is to remind ourselves about Allah. Because, we are totally drowned in worldly things. Completely. We are just thinking of this world. Completely. Kam, tem, chekene, nokri ki chinta, roti ki fikr. We always think of these things, isn't it? We are our children, our future, our work, our studies, our business. So once you come, Allah has made wajib, you are bound to remember Him. Think if namaz would have not kept wajib. Nobody would have prayed, maybe, perhaps. But it is kept wajib, we are rushing for it. We have to pray. Yeah? So when we pray, we remember Him. We remember Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala. So in that, if the 8th thing is that if a person weeps for Allah, there's no problem. But if he weeps about worldly affairs, there is a problem. If he weeps about his own things, mar par zulum thiyo, barabar na thau joine thiyo, example, somebody harassed me. And if he weeps about his worldly things, namaz becomes batil. But if he weeps about Allah, apra masum or imma, their color would change. when they were praying. Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, Imam Ali alayhi salam. Imam Sajjad, his color would be pale completely because of the remembrance of Allah. And he was saying that I'm going to that Malik-e-Hakiki who has created me. He's Malik-e-Hakiki, the real owner. To him I'm going. So his color would change. So, okay, as an obligatory precaution, if one intentionally weeps, silently or loudly, over some worldly matters, his namaz will be void. But if he weeps silently or loudly due to fear of Allah or for the hereafter, then there is no harm in it. In fact, it is among the best acts. This is what namaz for, even if you remember Allah. Ninth, any act which changes the form of namaz. Jo, namaz, quick fair when we pray, you know, sometimes you are at home, you've got small children. You know, these children, sometimes they keep something for you while you are praying, example. They are innocent, you can't blame them. They kept something and now you can't do sajda. Yeah? And you want to remove that thing, example. They kept something, a chair. And you know, they just grabbed it, they kept it while you are praying. Hey Baba, how will I go for ruku now? How will I go for sujood now? If there is a chair here, I'm going to sujood, I remove that chair. It has not changed the form of my namaz. Barabar? It has not changed the form of my namaz. No, it's just removal. I didn't turn away from Qibla. I just removed the chair. And I went down. There's no problem. But if the form was such that a person, urf जिन्हें आपने किया है, urf, हम उन लोग को urf कहते हैं. Urf यानी तीसरा आदमी जो गुजर रहा है, अगर उसने देखा हो कि और ये कहे कि ये तो नमाज ही नहीं पढ़ता है, तो नमाज बातिल है. If it changes the form, like clapping, jumping, yeah, it will change the form of namaz. Namaz will become batil. Any of act changes the form of namaz, like clapping, jumping, invalidates the namaz, regardless of whether that act is done intentionally or forgetfully. Pachi bhare to forgetfully hoye. You acted in such a way, it changed the form. Namaz is batil. However, there is no harm in actions which do not change the form of namaz, like making a brief sign with one's hand. Agar brief sign, you are praying, your wife entered. Where is the key? She doesn't know you are praying. Where is the key? And your key, and she's looking for keys. Poor fellow. And your keys are lying in your pocket. You just do ishara like this to make her understand that key is here. Namaz didn't break. Ishara of hands. You didn't change the form completely. You didn't turn away from Qibla. If you just did like this, she will understand that the key is lying in his pocket. He has got the keys. You don't have to worry. Example. This is ishara. There's no problem. The last thing, making a brief sign with one's hand. Any ishara, a sign, there's no problem. Yeah, that's fine. Pointing like this, provided you have not changed your position from Qibla. Okay. What if a person remains silent during namaz for so long, thus causes a long gap? Will it invalidate his prayers? Read the question clearly. Read the question clearly, and yeah, for so long. For so long. Okay, thus causing a long gap. See the question. Causing a long gap. I've explained now. Now it should come in your mind, the answer. Kumel, what do you think? Yeah. Having the explanation earlier, yeah? So it will break your salah. You see the question how it comes. What if a person remains silent during namaz for so long, thus causing a long gap? Will it invalidate his prayers? Yes. Because Kullu Allah Surah Al-Hamd pata lita, masalan. And you just wait for 5 minutes. Leave 5 minutes, 3 minutes is a lot. You wait 1 second, thinking which rakat I am. That's fine. A long gap, it will break. What will it break? Continuation, ahsan, sequence, tartib. It will break mualat. Maintenance of sequence. It will break that sequence. Because you have to. Pachi, થઈ ગયું કે બહુ ખોબાઈ રહ્યા તમે. નથી કરતા આપણે ભૂલ કોઈક ફેરે કે ત્યારે આપણે હા કરી લીધા, ન કરવું જોઈએ. છે કે નહીં? શું કામ આપણે ભૂલ? એક ભૂલ રહી, ટાઈમ વટાઈ ગયો, વાત રહી ગઈ. Time has gone. But you waited there. You did. So here also, you waited, you spoiled the whole, you disrupted the system of namaz. You waited for so long. When you waited for so long, it broke your namaz. If a person remains silent during namaz for so long, now this is fatwa 1161. Based on this fatwa, I am giving you the answer. If a person remains silent during namaz for so long that it may not be said that he is offering prayers, his namaz is invalidated. Yani, the third person, what we say urf. Ilmi zaban mein, fiqhi zaban mein, इसको कहते उर्फ. उर्फ यानी क्या? यानी हम लोग यहाँ पे हम दर्स पढ़ रहे हैं अभी, और तीसरा आदमी उसको हमारे साथ कुछ काम नहीं है, वो वारिद हुआ और वो वक्त गुजर रहा है यहाँ पे, उसको हम कहते हैं उर्फ. यानी तीसरा आदमी, हम नमाज पढ़ रहे हैं, जो आदमी वहां पे गुजर रहा है उसको कहते हैं उर्फ. वो बट एटलीस्ट व्हेन ही सीज अस ही कैन कॉम्प्रिहेंड कि ये क्या कर रहा है. कोई भी हमें देखेंगे ओके कि मौलाना यहाँ पे दर्स दे रहे हैं और हजरात आए हैं, ये लोग कुछ हासिल करते हैं मौलाना से, फिक्ह की क्लास होती है, तो वो बर्दाश्त कर लेगा कि उसको कहते हैं उर्फ. तो अगर उर्फ वहां से गुजरे और कहे कि यही तो यहाँ पे कुछ नहीं, ये नमाज नहीं पढ़ रहे क्योंकि इतने यानी ज्यादा लंबा पीरियड हो गया कि वो फकत खड़ा होता है, तो ये नमाज तो नहीं पढ़ रहा है. अगर वो इसमें ऐसे सोचे, नमाज बात है. If a person performs an extraneous act during namaz or maintains prolonged silence and then doubts whether his prayers has been thereby invalidated, he should repeat the namaz. But the better way of doing it is to first complete the namaz and then repeat it. Etle, I said earlier that namaz you can't break. It's haram. Bas toruchu. We'll come to some slides which mentions where can we break namaz. Where can we break namaz? We'll come to those slides. But otherwise, you can't break namaz like this only. Okay, 10th. Eating or drinking. If a person offering prayers eats or drinks in such a manner that people would not say that he was in namaz, his prayers would be void. Okay? Regardless of whether he does it intentionally or forgetfully. Even forgetfully, if you eat, but how eating? Jo ache ne, bau reez vastu che, nani vastu che. Look what it says. It says, if you eat in such a manner that people would not say that he is praying. એમ નહીં કે તો હવે નમાઝ પઢે છે વા બનાના ખોલે છે ને ખાય છે. In such a way. What do I mean? We'll come to it. What do I mean? Regardless of whether he does intentionally or forgetfully. However, if a person who wants to keep a fast, this is interesting. If a person wants to keep a fast, is offering a mustahab namaz, before the adhan of Fajr, and being thirsty, fears that by the time he completes the prayers, it will be Fajr. He can drink water during that mustahab prayers. provided water is not more than 2 or 3 steps away from him. Water so he can take. And he should be careful not to commit acts which invalidate namaz, like turning his face away from Qibla. Interesting, huh? It's a new thing. But it is there in Tawzih of Agha Sistani, Hafidhullah Ta'ala alayh. He says that, so if I'm praying namaz al-shab early in the morning, it is Mahe Rajab, example. I want to fast. Namaz al-shab is mustahab namaz. It's not wajib. Okay, I've understood that. Now, I'm thinking that by the time I finish my namaz, it will be azan fajr. And if it is azan fajr, I want to fast, I won't be able to drink water. Water is not very far from me. It's lying there in the jug. Even by just grabbing it, just quickly putting in the glass, grabbing it, having water during mustahab namaz, namaz is valid. If it is mustahab namaz, provided you have not turned away from Qibla. Okay. Even if the intentional eating or drinking does not change the form of namaz, as an obligatory precaution, he should repeat the namaz regardless of whether muwalat is maintained or not by eating and drinking. So, even if the intentional eating or drinking intentionally in namaz does not change the form of namaz, okay, as an obligatory precaution, he should repeat the namaz. In wajib namaz, intentional eating, it won't be allowed. Even if it doesn't form, even if it doesn't change the form of namaz. Yeah. If a person in namaz swallows the food which has remained around his teeth, there's some particles, food particles. Sometimes it remains in our teeth. His prayers are not invalidated. Similarly, if things like grains or sugar remain in the mouth and they melt slowly and go down the throat, there is no harm in it. Yusuf, by clear? Yeah, that's what they are saying. If it melts slowly and go down the throat, chewing gum is not allowed. Chewing gum is not that particle. If the particles remain particles, if the particles go swiftly to your throat, it shouldn't be a problem. It's not eating. Nah. If those food particles remained, ask questions so that you understand, okay? Because perception is different. All have got different perception, isn't it? Sometimes you recite something, there are 50 people, they have 50 perceptions, different. Yeah, it depends how you take it. Okay, no, the masala says that if their food particles remained, I ate my meal, okay, and after having my meal, then I came for salah. I ate my dinner at home. Namaz time is very late, so I had my dinner first. Then I came to lead salah. I had already eaten. I had chicken, example. The particles, I didn't use toothpick, example, for some reasons. I was in a hurry. Then the particles remained in my teeth. I'm praying. So the particle, if they remained in my teeth, do you mean to say, I should remove quickly? Nani vastuche. Particles. You don't have to take that hassle. Okay, hey, lazim ukadu, because it will break my namaz. No, if that particle, you don't have to worry. Swiftly it goes down the throat, there's no problem. There's another scenario. You take purposely a sweat and you put, no. This if the particles remained in your teeth. Okay, it depends. That sweet which you have to throw. But after throwing, the particles remained, then there's no problem. You came from home. You have put sweet in your mouth and you want to pray. You have to take that sweet and you bin it. Sweet, you have to bin it. Chewing gum, you have to bin it. But you have already binned it. But in namaz, you figured out that thoda particles rahi gaya che. Sweet na. Thai shake che. Okay? So you had binned the main sweet. But particles, it remained. It's okay. If remained particles, it remained in our teeth. No. They can't. No. If they kept, and when they came to namaz, they take it out. After they've taken out, some particles remained. It's okay. If particles remained, but they can't keep. If a person in namaz swallows the food which has remained around his teeth, his prayers are not invalidated. Similarly, if things like grains or sugar remain in the mouth and they melt slowly and go down the throat, there's no harm in it. Yeah, there's no problem. Even first it says that even if a person swallows in namaz, the food swallows completely, which remained around his teeth, there's no problem. Yes. Very good question. Okay, so the first question is that after doing wudu, I ate. My wudu is valid. If I ate. Okay? My wudu is valid. The second question, there's no problem. I gargled. I washed my mouth because I ate. It's not wajib to gargle. Yeah? By eating does not break your wudu. Okay? So you gargle, it's something good. It is mustahab if you gargled. Why it is sunnah? Because the taste of food should not come in your namaz. That, what you call, that feeling of food, the taste should not still remain in salah. Because when you are praying, you are detaching yourself from the world. And you want to concentrate only in Allah. So you will gargle, it is sunnah. But if you didn't gargle, if you didn't wash your mouth, there's no problem. It's better to gargle. It's better to gargle. It's better. It's that is the different mawzu. That is fasting. In that case, if you feel, in that case, Agha Sistani says you must use toothpick before Fajr. And if a person had some food particles during daytime, he should remove it. He should not let it in. So the masala of fasting is a bit different. At that time only he should remove it. And he can gargle, provided that water does not go in. He gargles, and the particles come out. Clear? That's beautiful. That's wonderful. If you brush, so you are safe, because all those things which are in our teeth, it comes out. Yeah? Okay. What was your third question, Kumail? Oh, I've answered all the questions. Okay, 11th. Any doubt concerning the number of rakats in those prayers which consist of 2 or 3 rakats will render the namaz void. Also, if one doubts about the number of the first 2 rakats of namaz having 4 rakats, like Zohar, Asr and Isha, his namaz will be void if he continues to be in doubt. Yani, you are praying, you are in 2 rakat namaz, namaz is-subh, and you are doubting about the number of the rakat. See, these are small things, but very important to note. The number of rakat. Namaz is-subh, if you don't know that this is my first rakat or second rakat, namaz will become batil. If you are shak, you are in doubt, the number of rakat, not other things. If you have not performed one sajda, example, from 2 sajdas, you didn't perform one, there's a different hukm. There's a different solution. But the problem is that I'm in doubt in number of rakat. Number of rakat, that whether it is my first rakat or second rakat, my namaz will become batil. If I'm in doubt in namaz-e-maghrib, it is 3 rakat namaz. There also in number of rakat, namaz becomes batil. If I'm in doubt in 4 rakat namaz, yani either Zohar, Asr or Isha in first rakat or second rakat, about the number of rakat, namaz becomes batil. Wonderful. No, that's not the doubt. That is 50-50. Yeah. Doubt is completely, you don't know, you are stuck. Shak. 50-50. But if you, for a second, you thought, and you said that, nah, I know this. Now I am sure it's third rakat. Go ahead with it. The problem comes, you are doubting, 50-50. You don't know, namaz becomes. Then a person continues to doubt, example, it will void salah. Yes, automatically. Because namaz is batil. Because we are discussing things which invalidate salah. So we have reached 11th item. Yeah? So what 11th item is that when you have doubt in the number of rakat, namaz becomes batil. But which namaz? 2 rakat namaz, 3 rakat namaz, or 4 rakat namaz if it is in first rakat or second rakat. If you are doubting in a 4 rakat namaz, in third rakat or 4 rakat, there is a correction to be done, which we shall discuss, inshallah, in the coming sessions. 12th, the last thing. Because we said that there are 12 things which break salah. So this is the last thing. If a person omits or adds the rukn, the elemental parts of the namaz, either intentionally or forgetfully, his namaz is void. Similarly, if he does an extra rukn forgetfully, like adding a ruku or 2 sajda in 1 rakat in his namaz, as an obligatory precaution, it will be void. You know, ruku is wajib rukni. Sujood is wajib rukni. Takbiratul ihram is wajib rukni. You added, or you didn't do completely, namaz batil. Because it is wajib rukni. Rukni means elemental. Rukn, so root. Main thing. You didn't do that. It's automatically batil. Niyat. You didn't have niyat. The fact that you are coming to the mosque, You have that intention that I'm going to pray. It's niyat already. But if you didn't have that also, namaz is batil. If a person omits or adds the rukn, elemental parts of the namaz, either intentionally or forgetfully, his namaz is void. Similarly, if he does an extra rukn forgetfully, like adding a ruku or two sajda in one rakat, in his namaz, as an obligatory precaution, it will be void. Ruku ek જ હોવો જોઈએ. Example. But you added, you did two ruku. Namaz gayi. And if one omits purposely, ruku હોવો જોઈએ ek, ઈ ન કર્યું, he omitted. If he omits purposely acts which are not rukn or makes an addition, namaz will be void again. But if one forgetfully adds one more takbiratul ihram, namaz will be. Now this, we leave this part, the last part. Okay, I'll have to make my own research about takbiratul ihram. Okay? I don't know what does it mean here. Okay, but this will leave this part. I'll have to make my own research in this sentence. Rukn. Ahsan. तो इसमें नमाज बातिल नहीं होती. ना ना ना. पता है कब बातिल होती है? जब आप पहली रकत में या दूसरी रकत में, पहले तो सुने, नमाज अगर आप रकात के बारे में अगर आप शक करें नमाज सुबह में या नमाज मगरिब में, क्यों नमाज सुबह यानी दो रकात नमाज, वो नमाज जो दो रकात वाली है, या वो नमाज जो तीन रकात वाली है, या वो नमाज चार रकात वाली जैसे जोहर असर और इशा, लेकिन पहली रकत में और दूसरी रकत में अगर शक आए, ओके, यानी वो शक किसके बारे में, अबाउट द नंबर ऑफ रकात, नमाज विल बिकम वॉइड. ये एक बात हो गई थी. आप कहती है कि चार रकात नमाज है, शक आया कब, तीसरी रकत में या चौथी रकत में, तो वो उसमें नमाज बातिल नहीं होती. क्यों? क्योंकि शक कब आया, तीसरी रकत में या चौथी रकत में. इसके बारे में वो क्लियर हो गया अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह. 12th, इसमें क्या है, हम पूरे नमाज में हमने बयान कर लिया था पहले, अगर आपको याद हो, कि पूरे नमाज में 5 चीजें रुकनी है. यानी क्या? यानी नियत, कयाम यानी तकबीरतुल इहराम, रुकू और सुजूद, 2 सजदे, ये रुकनी है. बकिया 6 गैर रुकनी है. रुकन यानी एलिमेंटल, मेन, कोर थिंग, सोर्स, बिल्कुल मेन, ये रुकन है. उसमें अगर आपने कुछ इजाफा किया या घटाया तो आपकी नमाज बातिल है, बस, नथिंग एल्स. यानी वो 5 चीजें में अगर आपने ऐड किया या आपने निकाला कुछ, मसलन रुकू करना था आपने नहीं किया, तो नमाज बातिल है. ओके. देखो एक चीज है, वो 11th आइटम में रकात के बारे में थी, 12th आइटम में रुकन के बारे में. 11th आइटम में वो कहते कि इफ यू हैव अ डाउट इन द नंबर ऑफ रकात, whether you are in first rakat or second rakat, और अब 2 रकात नमाज, जो नमाज सुबह है वो तो 2 रकात ही नमाज है, नमाज मगरिब तो 3 रकात ही है. अगर उसमें भी आपको रकात में, नंबर ऑफ रकात में आपको शक है, तो नमाज बातिल. 12th आइटम में आप ये 2 चीजों को आप मिक्स मत करें, कंफ्यूज मत हो जाए. ओके, हम पहले इस तरीके से समझे, ये समझ गए हम. इफ वी कम टू द 12th आइटम, इट सेज दैट, ये तो हम समझ चुके हैं कि नमाज में या वाजिब रुकनी है या वाजिब गैर रुकनी है. वाजिब रुकनी 5 है, गैर रुकनी 6 है. वाजिब रुकनी में अगर हमने कुछ इजाफा किया या कुछ निकाला तो नमाज बातिल, बस. यानी ये तो पहले से हम जानते थे, लेकिन क्योंकि हम डिस्कस कर रहे हैं जो कौन सी चीज है जो नमाज को बातिल करती है पिछले सेशन से, तो उनमें से आगा को तो मेंशन चाहिए ना, मेंशन करना चाहिए ना उनको कि देखो अगर रुकन में तुमने कुछ इजाफा किया या कुछ घटाया तो नमाज बातिल है, कुछ निकाला तो नमाज बातिल है। यानी हो ही नहीं सकता कि नमाज में रुकू ना हो ही नहीं सकता कि आप 2 सुजूद निकाले, अगर आपने 2 सुजूद निकाले तो नमाज बातिल है। Okay, if a person doubts after the namaz whether or not he performed any such act which invalidated the namaz, his namaz will be in order. Yani, if a person doubts after namaz whether or not he performed any such act which invalidated the prayers, his namaz will be in order. It means that if I doubt after namaz, that whether, if I doubt after namaz that I don't know, did I perform any act which invalidated the prayers, then I'm still in doubt, then namaz is in order. You have to ignore this shak. Because I doubt after namaz, the time has passed, then the namaz will be in order. Okay, so अगर 4 रकात नमाज में अगर आपको शक आया तीसरी रकत में, नमाज बातिल नहीं है। Then you have to ignore this shak. Okay, no, you have to ignore. We'll come, maybe next session, we'll discuss about this. The doubts regarding namaz. We'll come to it now. जो आप कहती है ना, this will discuss. No, if you this is one of the doubt which is supposed to be ignored. This is one of the doubt which is supposed to be ignored. Okay. Now, alhamdulillah, we have finished the things which invalidate salah. Now we are discussing things which are makruh in namaz. Okay, 1166. It is makruh that a person in namaz slightly turns his face towards right or left. If you turn 90 degrees away from Qibla, it will break your namaz. You remember? The things which invalidate salah, the 5th item. अगर आपको याद हो तो, अब मेरे ज़हन में सब रह गया है, अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह। पता नहीं आपके ज़हन में रहा या नहीं रहा, मेरे ज़हन में रह गया कि पहला क्या है, दूसरा क्या है, तीसरा क्या है, 12वां सूत्र तक। तो 5वें आइटम में, if you turn away from Qibla, namaz becomes batil. Oh, I turn away from Qibla, namaz is batil. Yes. Had क्या है? What is the limitation? 90 degrees. तो हमारे लिए Qibla ये है कि नहीं? तो completely I turn this way. Isn't it? 90 degrees is completely you turn another side. लेकिन slightly, if this is, पता इंसान है, पता नहीं था या for some reason, you a bit, इंसान shake हुआ, कुछ भी, if it is slightly you turned, it didn't move till 90 degrees, namaz doesn't become batil, but namaz becomes, it is makruh, but namaz doesn't become batil, it is makruh. Yani, it is makruh that a person in namaz slightly turns his face towards right or left, an angle which would not be constructed as deviation from Qibla. Otherwise, namaz will be void. Yani, complete deviation, otherwise namaz will be void. As explained earlier. It is also makruh during prayers to shut the eyes or turn towards right or left. बाज़ लोग को आपने देखा होगा ऐसे करते, नमाज पढ़ते आंखें बंद हुई, बिल्कुल हमारे जैसे तो आंख अगर बंद करे तो नींद आ जाएगी, बिल्कुल आंख बंद करते। अब कुछ लोग कहते हैं कि जैसे कि बच्चों को हम जब पढ़ाते हैं तो हम मसलन जहाँ पे भी हो, तो वो जब आंखें बच्चे हैं तो हम कहते हैं ना कि बेटा मकरू है, तो मौलाना we want to concentrate. You see, that is why we are shutting our eyes, because we don't want any other thoughts should come in our minds. So that's why we are shutting up. But Agha says that shutting your eyes, closing your eyes, to shut the eyes, or turn towards right or left, or to play with one's beard, it's makruh. It doesn't invalidate salah, but it's makruh. Or to play with your hands. पता है वो स्पेशल आवाज आते टक 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 उंगलियों में वो कुछ तोड़ते हैं. It is makruh. Okay? And to cross the fingers of one hand into those of another. अगर इंसान फकत fingers को close करे, and to spit. थूके भी इंसान मकरूह है, नमाज को तोड़ता नहीं ये काम, लेकिन मकरूह है to spit. It is also makruh to look at the writing of the Holy Quran or some other books or a ring. It is also makruh to become silent while reciting Surah Al-Hamd or any other surah or zikr, so as to listen to some conversation. कभी कभार हम ये भी मकरूह है कि वहां पे conversation चल रहा है, कोई फोन में बात कर रहा है, वो क्या कहती है या वो क्या कहता है उनको हम सुनना चाहते हैं, तो हम तो कंटिन्यू करते हैं नमाज में, नमाज पढ़ते हैं, लेकिन जहन सब वहां पे, पूरा जहन वहां पे कि वहां पे क्या चलता है, क्या बातें होती है. इट इज मकरूह. Because and you are praying and also you have open Quran. You can't do two things. You are praying and you're also opening the. देखो कुरान के राइटिंग्स को देखना मुस्तहब है, कुरान को देखना फकत मुस्तहब, लेकिन नहीं नमाज में मुश्किल नहीं है. That is different. यहाँ पे हम देख वो बात नहीं होती पढ़ने की. यहाँ पे फकत we are praying, but a part of that we are opening Quran also to look at the Quran. प्रोवाइडेड मुश्किल नहीं है, प्रोवाइडेड आपके हाथ दो जानू में पहुंचते हैं, कोई मुश्किल नहीं है, बुक के साथ भी हो तो कोई हर्ज नहीं है कि इंसान बुक भी नीचे रख सकता है. यानी यू सी, देखो दिस वन थिंग शुड बी क्लियर कि ये फिक्ह मसाइल जो है ये जनरल प्रिंसिपल्स है. जनरल प्रिंसिपल, आप ड्राइविंग इंस्ट्रक्टर के पास जाएंगे तो वो आपको एक जनरल प्रिंसिपल समझाएगा. ड्राइविंग इंस्ट्रक्टर व्हेन यू अगर इफ यू आर ड्राइविंग and their oncoming cars coming, if it is their way, you have to wait and give them way because it is their way and we want to turn right. आप ब्रेक करती है ना, you have to wait until those oncoming cars should pass. ड्राइविंग इंस्ट्रक्टर ने आपको एक जगह पे दिखा दिया कि देखो जब तुम अपने घर जाना चाहते हो, लाहौरी कबाब में पहुंचते हो, you want to turn, उसके बाद तुम्हारे घर पे जाना चाहते हो, you have to wait here. सब oncoming cars चले जाए, when the road is clear then you have to turn. मुझे समझाया गया example. This is a principle because it is their way. You are entering into their way. They are not coming in your way. So they have got priority. You have to wait for them. I've understood. तो ये प्रिंसिपल ड्राइविंग इंस्ट्रक्टर ने आपको समझा दिया. आपको इंप्लीमेंट करना है हर जगह, न फकत लाहौरी कबाब के रोड में. मैं आपके घर में भी आना चाहता हूं लफबोरो में, अगर the same situation occurs there, I'll have to wait because I'll calculate कि ये तो oncoming cars है और it is their way, I have to give them way. तो कहने का मकसद ये है कि मैंने आपको जनरल प्रिंसिपल्स बता दिया. नाउ यू अब ऐसे जूसी सवालात बहुत निकलेंगे, So now you take those general principles and apply it everywhere. And what was the general principle? That example दिया था मैंने, अगर आपको याद हो, अगर कुर्सी भी हो तो आप निकाल सकते हैं. It doesn't break your salah. Example, बच्चे ने कुर्सी रख दिया और you can't go to sujood. So you have to you remove. It's okay, provided it was in fifth item or in Qibla. Provided you have not turned away from Qibla completely. तो बुक भी आप रख सकते हैं नीचे, कोई मुश्किल नहीं है. In fact, mukhtasaran, general law ye hai, in fact, every such act which disturbs attention and humility is makruh. Mukhtasar, in short, every act which disturbs. Why are we praying? Because of humility. We are remembering Allah. I am returning back to my Lord when I pray. इसीलिए क्या कहते रसूल, क्या कहते? as-salatu mi'rajul mu'min. मोमिन जब नमाज पढ़ता है तो मेराज में जाता है, ऊपर जाता है, आसमानों में सैर करता है आसमानों की. रसूल इसी महीने में इंशाल्लाह मेराज होगी ना, 27 रजब इंशाल्लाह. तो रसूल मेराज यानी क्या, उरूज पे गए हुजूर. तो मोमिन के लिए नमाज मेराज है. अस्सलातु मेराजुल मोमिन. इसीलिए जब आप वापस आते तो कहते हैं सबको अस्सलामु अलैकुम व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातहू. अल्लाह अकबर. अल्लाह दोबारा. ये जैसे कि हम सलाम कब करता है इंसान, जब वारिद होते हैं नई जगह पे, तब सलाम करता है. तो अब हम वापस आ गए, नमाज खत्म हो गई, यानी मैं वापस आ गया हूं, मेराज की सैर कर चुका. तो नमाज यानी मेराज है, यानी ह्यूमिलिटी. यू हैव टू रिमेंबर अल्लाह. It is nothing else but to remember Allah. That is the main thing in namaz. Even if you cry, there's no problem. Namaz is valid. So anything which breaks humility, it distracts you, it is makruh. If it distracts from, you'll tell me, why it is makruh and not haram? You could ask me. Why it is makruh? Something which breaks humility, something which takes you away from Lord. Huh? तो हराम होना चाहिए था. या कुर्सी एग्जाम्पल, ये बुक को नीचे रखना या कुर्सी को ये जगह से हटाना, तो ये नमाज को बातिल करना चाहिए था. तो फिर इस्लाम बहुत सख्त होता है ना. इंसान दूसरा काम ही नहीं करेगा कोई. आप खुद जानते हैं Islam, see how it is universal. It is not only for Arabia. Islam is not only for Saudi Arabia, ke Rasul jab aaye the. No, it is for whole universe. Islam is not only for us. It is for whole mankind. Rasul was for whole mankind. It is fit and applicable to each and every individual. Islam. That agar waqt bhi kam ho, bahut mukhtasar se waqt mein aap namaz padh sakti. It is so flexible. Because if it would have been so hard and fast, तो रखना चाहिए था शरीयत को कि कुर्सी को खसकाना या कुछ भी तो नमाज बातिल हो जाए ना. अगर ऐसी बात होती तो फिर it would have been very hard for people. Okay, good question. She took her phone, she switched it off, and she kept again during the namaz. Provided she didn't turn away from Qibla, namaz is valid. It is makruh. Yeah. It is makruh. It is makruh. It's obviously, it is problem. If she reads the text completely for 5 minutes, for 2 minutes, then it's a problem. But if a person knew, okay, I'm disturbing the Jamaat, yeah, and it's going on ringing, a person just he switches off, and then he kept again, or kept down, provided she didn't turn away from Qibla, namaz is valid. See, these are very good questions. These are practical questions. This we need to know. And all unfortunately are not coming. So you convey to them, I won't reach everywhere. Your Maulana won't reach everywhere. So you take these questions and they ask you, you see, explain. That is how we will propagate. It is makruh for a person to offer prayers when he is feeling drowsy or when he restrains his urge for urinating or defecation. It's not haram. You are allowed to pray, but it is makruh. You have got that urge of going to the washroom. Yeah? So, but in that situation, can I pray? Yes, you can pray, but it is makruh. Why? Because maybe you won't be able to concentrate well. Yeah? It is makruh. Yeah. Like in Ramadan, Mahe Ramadan, the holy month of Ramadan, when you come to fasting, masail of fasting, you will find that Agha Sistani says, he says that in the masail of fasting, he says that it is good to pray in prime time, okay? But if a person can't concentrate in namaz because of excessive hunger, then he can break his fast, then pray. Example, he says. So it is makruh because you can't concentrate maybe. What comes in your mind is only bhajia, kachori and kebab. The example. So he says that if this is the case, due to long fast, then a person can eat first, yes. But it's good to pray in prime time because it becomes makruh if a person cannot concentrate in salah. But it doesn't mean that namaz nahi wakaye. No. Parisha ke Kim ke ek obligatory vastu che ne. It is something, it is made wajib. You have to. For me, example, I take it as obligatory to do my fiqh class. But I didn't prepare that day. Example, I didn't make slides. I just came and I just spoke here and there. I was, what they call, hitting around the bush. Beating around the bush. You just bit around the bush. In Farsi they call as inshakh be unshakh. Shakh means branch. See these monkeys, they just climb from one branch to another branch, from that branch to another branch. Here, there. No confined topic, no goal, isn't it? That is very wrong. It is zulm on one's personality, himself. It is a suicide for your personality. You are committing a suicide. Whoever does that, to beat around the bush, if a person is not prepared. But, just in case, if a person is not prepared, example, I didn't make slides, I didn't do anything, I didn't prepare myself, I just came like this, and I just spoke here, there. Olu fiqh class to wakase. It will be taken as, yeah, I didn't prepare, I am at fault, yes. But what, that fiqh, it will count as the Maulana performed his fiqh class. So praying without concentration, it will be accepted that a person prayed. It was obligatory on him. He prayed. He didn't concentrate, leave on Allah. If I didn't concentrate, namaz is valid. If I didn't concentrate, I didn't make any blunders, I prayed, namaz is valid. But it will be called that you prayed, yes. This fiqh class, it was performed, no one will deny. We came, we benefited from him, although he was speaking here and there. But the fiqh class took place. Same applies namaz. Namaz concentration was not there, but he prayed. Now, occasions when obligatory prayers can be broken. Somebody asked me when we started about occasions when namaz can be broken. I don't know, initially here somebody asked, and I said that we'll continue. It will come in the slides, in the coming slides. Okay, so this is, there are some occasions where obligatory prayers can be broken. You remember we said that initially, that to break namaz is haram. You can't break namaz without any reason. It's haram, it's guna. You are praying and you just break. Kem bas mane man thiyo. Maru dil thiyo. Na namaz che masti na thi. Isn't it? You can't just break. If you do a transaction, you can't break. You can't break. It is a valid transaction. You are playing with me. You come here, you tell Maulana, I've sold for you this anguti. I tell, fine, I agree. I brought this from Iran, I'm selling rings. I said, wonderful. Then all of a sudden you change. It's written, it's in a paper form. I've signed, you have signed. We both have signed, it's a contract. It's a transaction. Then all of a sudden you change. Have છે ને મને 30 pound ખપે છે. Hey Baba, what do you mean? હવે મને 30 pound ખપે છે. હવે હું મારું mind change કરી નાખ્યો છું. It's haram to turn back like this. Are you playing with me? Because this is a valid transaction. I agreed, you agreed. Money is given, everything. It's a valid transaction. You can't play with me. I've got my own. The thing is about values. Zabanni એક કીમત હોય છે. પૈસા કાઈ વસ્તુ નથી. Zabanni કીમત હોય છે. I've got my own values. You can't change like this, turn away around. You are disrespecting my personality. So, you can't just break namaz like this without any reason. Fap. Namaz gayi. How much? No, it's namaz. It's not a joke. It is haram as an obligatory precaution to break obligatory prayers purposely. But if one has to break in order to protect property or to escape from financial or physical harm, there is no objection. In fact, he can break it for any worldly or religious purpose which is crucially important for him. So you can't, and purposely you can't break namaz, it is haram. But if one has to break in order to protect property, અજીબ છે આ દીન મુબીન ઇસ્લામ. ઈ તમારી પ્રોપર્ટીને પણ માન આપ્યો છે. ન ખાલી ઇજ્જત, ન ખાલી તમારી જાન, પણ તમારું પ્રોપર્ટીને પણ ઇજ્જત આપ્યો છે. This is your property, isn't it? I'll have to honor that. And you have to honor also. If you think that it is being snatched away, you can break your namaz to save your property. Or to escape from financial or physical harm. Even if it is harm, financially, physically, you can break your namaz. I'm not saying this is from Aghasistani's fatwa. There is no objection. In fact, he can break it for any worldly or religious purpose which is crucially important for him. You think it's important? I have to break. Sometimes a moment, it is very important. If this is not said, you have to grab that opportunity. Opportunity. Sometimes it is beneficial for me. For that opportunity example, now you think, if you can break it for any worldly or religious purpose, even if it's worldly purpose, which is crucially important. You think it's crucially important, otherwise I won't get this call back. You think yourself, you see yourself. If it is crucially very important, even for worldly things, for religious, you can break your namaz. I don't know, am I clear? Yeah. Now, if you are sure, again, if that is crucially important, if you are sure, ઘણી વાર આપણને ખબર નથી પડતી, because we are not near the phone to read કે કોનો number આવે છે. But if you have yaqeen, you have got that certainty, yeah, you are along those lines that yes, you have got certainty, and you think that this is crucially important, okay, for my worldly or religious, there you are. But if you think he will call back, if you think she will call back, વાંધો નથી. If he says, that's fine. If it is not possible for a person to protect without breaking the prayers, his own life, or the life of a person whose protection is obligatory upon him, or to protect a property, the protection of which is obligatory on him, he should break the prayers. If a creditor demands payment from a person who is praying, and if there is ample time for namaz, he should pay him while praying, if that is possible. But if it is not possible to pay him without breaking the namaz, then he should break the namaz, pay the creditor, and then pray. અજીબ છે ને આ દીન ઇસ્લામ. કેટલોક માન આપે છે, ઇજ્જત, respect. Yet the creditor also, you can break the namaz and pay him. If you think he can't wait, he can't wait. You've got my money, and I can't wait. He's in a hurry. If it is not possible to pay him without breaking the namaz, first you pray, you pay, you break you pay without breaking namaz. પૈસા અહીંયા જ છે, આપી દે, વટાઈ ગયો. But it is not possible, પૈસા દૂર છે. Break the namaz and then pay. He should pay him while praying, if that is possible. But if it is not possible to pay him without breaking the namaz, then he should break the namaz, pay the creditor, and then pray. If a person learns during his prayers that the mosque is najis, and if time is short, he should complete the prayers. And if there is sufficient time, and making the mosque park does not change the form of prayers, he should make it park while praying. And then continue with the remaining part of the prayers. And if making the mosque park in that state changes the form of the prayers, breaking of prayers is permissible. If making it park is possible after prayers. But if it is not possible, he should break the prayers, make the mosque park, and then offer prayers. Mosque જ નજીસ છે. So you have to make it park, but you pray. That place is najis where you are praying, you have to make it park. Then, mara kapra જ najis છે, I have to change, then pray. You can't say that I will pray with najis clothes. I'll have to make it park. Then, after making it park, then I will pray. In a situation when one must break namaz, if he goes on and completes it, his namaz is in order, though he will have committed a sin. However, the recommended precaution is that he should offer the namaz again. Yani, you are supposed to pray. You are supposed to break. But you didn't. So die, oh bhai, no. Namaz will be valid, but you will commit a sin. Because you are supposed, yani insan ne જાણવું જોઈએ મારી responsibility શું છે. ટૂંકમાં, if I was supposed to break, I didn't break. I committed a sin. Although my namaz will be valid. ડોક્ટર ના પાયરો છે, ઊભી ઊભીને નમાઝ નહીં પર. કેવી રીતે થશે મોલાના? વર્ષોથી હું ઊભી ઊભી નમાઝ પઢું છું. ડોક્ટર ના પાયરો છે, પણ હું ઊભી ઊભી નમાઝ પઢું છું. તો હું એને કીધું નમાઝ જ બાતિલ છે. નમાઝ જ બાતિલ છે. મેં કીધું હા. ડોક્ટર જાણે છે કે તમે જાણો છો? આને કહે છે ઓવરવાઇઝ. ડોક્ટર આમ જ કહેશે? રીઝન હશે ને? નમાઝ જ બાતિલ છે. ઓ પછી બેસી નમાઝ પઢતો તો બિચારો. એ કેવી રીતે આમ થાય? આખી જિંદગી અમે ઊભી ઊભી નમાઝ પઢતા હતા, હવે શું કામ બેસે? ભલે ડોક્ટર કીધો છે, ભલે બાબા તમારી હેલ્થ વાસ્તે સારી નથી, ઓપરેશન કરાવ્યા છો મોતિયોનું. You don't have to bend. Islam is flexible. You are not making Islam. Allah is making Islam. He is making Islam. Let him make Islam. You don't intervene and you don't interrupt. Some people want to make their own laws. Sure. Here. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, you came from work, your clothes are najis. You have got only 5 minutes to pray. Okay, what will I do? Yeah. Okay, I'll reply you with Aga's fatwa, but in a different way. Aga says, if a person woke up in the morning, he has to do ghusl. Okay, look, Islam, there is no shame in Islam. La haya fid din, according to Prophet. We want to understand religion. We want to understand his religion, Allah's religion. You woke up in the morning, you have to do ghusl. And there's no time for ghusl. Aga says, change your clothes. Do tayammum instead of ghusl. Pray namaz al-subh. Pray namaz al-subh in time. And then you will do ghusl. Yes. Not wudu. Because instead of ghusl, I'm presenting to you a different scenario. I'm not replying to your answer. I'm presenting different scenario. You woke up, you have to do ghusl, but there's no time. You have to do tayammum. Because you have to do tayammum instead of ghusl. You'll do tayammum, but you'll change clothes first. If you have enough time at your disposal, you'll change clothes first. You'll do tayammum. After doing tayammum, you'll pray. And then you will do ghusl. That tayammum was instead of ghusl. One scenario. Second scenario, Agha Sistani says that you don't have time for even changing your clothes. He says, you will do tayammum with najis clothes, pray with najis clothes. You will do tayammum with najis clothes and you'll pray with najis clothes. If you see there's less time. If you woke up, situation, that the best thing is that from your garden, you need to get some soil and keep it at your home. Tayammum is up like this. Okay. Look, you strike your hands. Then I'll show, inshallah, in future how to do tayammum. Like this, then like this, and like this. 1 second. Wudu maybe 1 minute. Tayammum is 1 second. Because in wudu, everywhere water should reach. Everywhere. Even a pin drop place, if water has not reached, wudu is bad. Okay. Now, so having said this mas'ala, okay, see how Agha replies? That if you don't have enough time, with najis clothes, if you don't have time, namaz is becoming kaza, with najis clothes, do tayammum and pray. If you have time, change the clothes and pray. Now, in your case, if tayammum, if you don't have time, okay. If you do tayammum and you changed your clothes, do you think that all that 5 minutes will go? It's a very tricky. If you have shak about your clothes, ignore that shak. Even if you are at work and it didn't become najis, you should see najis is something else, dirty is something else. It is dry. If it becomes wet, it's a problem. Najis, when we say, is like, completely like urination and things like that. You see, if it's dry and it shouldn't be a problem. When when it comes wet, then it's a problem. And it depends. If they are at work, maybe the clothes are sweaty. Many people don't understand this also. I tell to my children also in workshop when I teach them that there are two different things. There's something dirty and there's something najis. Najis is shariatan dirty. This could be sweaty, so it's dirty, but it's not najis. Najis, it becomes those 10 things if they come in touch with these things, provided they are wet. Provided they are wet. So when they come daily, do they say daily that, today maybe we became in touch with the dog example. It sniffed us. Clothes become najis. Because it's already dry. Provided if, like again, just now it sniffed me example, just now. It's still wet. Then I have to change my clothes. So clothes becoming najis is not very common. So if you touch it, there's no wetness. Yeah. By the sun, if it's a wall, it's a building, okay, and then it rained, understand? Then again, sun also, it got the rays of the sun, it became dry, that building is back. They are practical questions.